So I've been doing a lot of outreach, and by a lot, what I mean by a lot is I've sent 1,333 manual messages on LinkedIn, okay? I've had 1,333 reps. I've been working in my evenings, I've been working on my weekends, right? And I've not had a single sales call, not one, okay? In all respects, I'm failing. I am a failure, okay? And it feels like I'm failing. No money's going into my bank account from all this work I'm putting in. But I've started to realize that this actually might be what the early stages of success looks like. So let me explain. If you watch my other videos, you'll know that I'm 7 weeks into building an SMMA business, right? I'm trying to escape the rat race. Watch my other videos if you haven't already. And early this week, late last week, I hit 1,000 sent messages and not a single client. In terms of what's happened, sometimes people would seem interested and then they'd just ghost me for whatever reason. Other times they would agree to a call, but then when we tried to decide on a time to have the call, things just fizzled out. And I'm not making excuses. Those were my fault, okay? I take full responsibility for those. But I feel like my time's being wasted. This is how it feels. Those weekends, those long evenings after work, when I could have been spending time with family or friends, it feels like my time's being wasted. And that's just the reality of it. But something I've started to realize more recently is that failure is just the difference between your expectations and your reality. Okay? And there's only two items there, right? And both of those you can control. You can control your reality. You can control your reality by sending more messages, by changing your outreach, the messages you're actually sending more messages, right? As an example. But you can also change your mindset, okay? And that's what I'm gonna sort of speak about today. I've realized that changing to a learning mindset rather than a success-driven mindset, an outcome-driven mindset, is so valuable. And in fact, it will get you further. Suddenly, with a learning mindset in everything in life, every day you're winning, every day you're learning, and thus every day you're winning. If your goal is to learn, you're gonna win every day. For example, if you get a new objection, and they don't buy, for example, well, now you learn that objection, you go back, you learn how to overcome it, and then next time somebody gives you that objection, well, you've got it in the bag, you've revised it, you know what to say, you get that client. Not only have you won because you've gone and learned, but then you've won afterwards because you've overcome it and then used what you've learned. You learn what to say and when to say it. Again, you can learn to use Calendly instead of going back and forth with the client, deciding when to have your sales call or not. Like just learning how to overcome these issues you're running into. Not only will it result in you achieving your goals, but it will make the day-to-day so much easier. Just take, for example, in your dating life, right? So if you have 1 or 2 bad dates, you're not just gonna quit dating altogether just because you had a bad date, you know? And in fact, I had a bad date yesterday, okay? It didn't go well, and it just wasn't the right person for me, let's just put it that way. But I'm not gonna quit dating just because I've had a bad date, am I? I'm gonna think, okay, what went well? What did I like about that person? What didn't I like about that person? Okay, did I do anything wrong? Okay, how can I do better next time? How can I make sure that the people I'm going on dates with are more compatible, right? I'm learning, I'm not quitting, I'm not throwing the towel in just because I had a bad date. And the exact same thing goes for your business. You're not, just because someone's not replying or just because you've had no sales calls doesn't mean you should just quit. It means you need to learn from what you've done and change how you're gonna approach future endeavors rather than just quitting. You might say this mindset is like the biggest cope ever, but let's say it is. Let's say I'm coping right now, okay? So what? if me coping leads to me achieving my goals, then perhaps you've got the wrong mindset, right? All it matters at the end of the day is who achieves their goals, okay, in the long run. And if I'm achieving my goals with a learning mindset and you don't, because you become disheartened because you only care about outcomes, then realistically, maybe you should just start coping. Just something to think about. I think in terms of key takeaways for you to enact in your day-to-day life, just remember it's not going to be easy, but every time you're tired or you're finding it difficult, you want to quit, but you don't, that's somebody you're beating. That's somebody who will have quit. As long as you don't quit, you're beating that person, you're getting ahead, right? And if it was easy, everyone would be running an SMMA business, right? It's not going to be easy. Everyone would do it. That's why most people work just normal jobs, because it's not easy. And there's level of risk to it. And remember, if you're not failing, you're not really trying hard enough. You know, at the gym, if you're failing, if you go for a bench PR and you don't hit it, so what? You hit it next time. Really, failing is just when you don't go for it. It's like, oh, I'm not going to try for my bench PR because I know I'm not going to hit it. Then you're a failure because you've not even tried. But if you're trying and failing, I wouldn't call you a failure. I'll just call you determined, and you'll eventually be successful. Remember to attack everything with the learning mindset that I mentioned. I think it will take you a lot further in the long run, and I think it will lead you to success.